Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Completionist. For this episode, I'm going to show you how to complete a quintessential classic for the Super Nintendo. Now, the game that I'm going to show you how to complete is Super Castlevania IV. Now, Super Castlevania IV was developed by Konami and released for the Super Nintendo in 1991 and is often regarded as one of the better Castlevania games throughout the entire Castlevania series. Now, when it comes to completing this game, guys, you'll be happy to know that you'll only need to play it once. No matter what you do in the game on your first playthrough, the ending will never change. Now, for me, when it comes to me completing this game, not only do you have to beat the game, but you also have to find the 3 hidden treasure rooms hidden throughout this game, and you need to make use and exploit the final secret before you fight the final boss with Dracula. Now, this game in itself, it's a very bare bones Castlevania series. It doesn't really do much to kind of reinvent the Castlevania series. It's a game that's literally known for its beautiful graphics and its beautiful music, especially when it got released in 1991. But this game doesn't really offer much in the way of new game mechanics. This game is known for the fact that Simon Belmont can use 8-directional whip movement, and you also have the new ability to actually swing from ledge to ledge. But this game is just a simple progression platformer. You literally just go from point A to point B for each of the game's 11 levels. And it doesn't really offer anything new because it's not like Castlevania III Dracula's Curse. You don't get different characters throughout the game, and there's also no branching paths as well. So anyway, guys, when it comes to completing this game, I'm going to show you how to find those 3 treasure rooms and how to exploit and use the final secret before you fight Dracula. So anyway, guys, let me show you how to fully complete Super Castlevania IV for the Super Nintendo. Super Castlevania IV is the first Castlevania game released for the Super Nintendo. It was developed by Konami and released in North America in December of 1991, and is often considered one of the better Castlevania titles. The game is a side-scrolling platformer by its basic nature, and the game in itself doesn't bring much in the way of new mechanics to the Castlevania series, except the ability to whip in 8 different directions and the ability to swing to specific ledges. This game is a perfect example of bringing the much beloved Castlevania series to the 16-bit generation, with its timeless graphics and its beautiful music, especially with some updated revisions of timeless Castlevania classics. With regards to completing this game, you only need to play it once. In this Castlevania game, there are no branching paths and there are no multiple characters that you can use throughout the game. It's literally a simple go from one level to the next after beating a boss until you finish the game. From my point of view, in order to consider this Castlevania game completed, not only do you need to beat the game, but in my eyes, you also need to find the 3 secret rooms hidden throughout the entire game. You also need to find and use the last secret area before you fight Dracula himself. With the completionist objective set, let's get started on getting Super Castlevania IV completed. Like the majority of Castlevania games, you have a variety of different weapons to help aid your quest when it comes to fighting Dracula and his army of minions. The standard sub-weapons from previous Castlevania titles are back, such as the axe, the dagger, the holy water, and the ever-important boomerang, or as other people like to call it, the cross. The game has a total of 11 levels, in which the majority of these levels have boss fights either at the end of the level, or in one case, halfway through the level. Like most Castlevania titles, it's always important to attack the candles and lamps that appear throughout each of the game's 11 levels, since these candles can yield sub-weapons, hearts so that you can use your sub-weapons, invincibility potions, whip power-ups, rosaries, double shot and triple shot power-ups, and the ever-important meat, since meat is really the only item that can heal you except crystals, which you get when you beat a boss at the end of the level. Throughout your playthrough, take any opportunity to whip any of the walls that you come across. Some of the walls throughout the game are destructible in the game. and can yield some very useful items such as large hearts, small and large pieces of meat, double shot and triple shot power-ups, and the coveted free lives as well. All depending on who you ask, some people consider this an easy Castlevania game, while other people consider this a really hard Castlevania game as well. For me, this game has had its share of frustrating moments, and I'll be honest, the last 2 levels really frustrated the hell out of me. This game has a lot of cheap deaths because literally there are too many things that can kill you instantly. Especially spikes, the floor variety and the ceiling variety. Falling off platforms, especially when you get hit by an enemy like those goddamn fucking Medusa heads. And that fucking spiked steel ball of death that follows you in level 11. And more importantly, the goddamn timer. If you haven't played this game, prepare yourself to die a lot because some of the platforming can be downright malicious. And you will see this screen quite a lot for those that are a little inexperienced when it comes to playing this game. Now with that little bit of rage out of the way, let's work on finding those 3 secret treasure rooms. The first treasure room is located in the first part of level 3, which is known as the Limestone Caverns. Once you make your way down the vertical section of the cave, destroy the bone pillar and move to the far left. You will see some square-shaped blocks. Those square-shaped blocks can be destroyed and it will take you into a cavern with a large amount of candles that hold heart pieces and a piece of meat as well. The second treasure room is located in the second part of level 6, which is known as the main hall. Just after you clear the huge chandeliers, once you pass the second falling chandelier, and directly underneath the third archway, whip down a couple of times and you'll discover a set of stairs that lead downwards. In this room, stick to the upper portion of the room, since the man and the ghost hound in the bottom section of this room cannot be killed. The candles in the upper section of this room hold heart pieces and a large piece of meat. The third treasure room is located in the second part of level 9, which is known as the treasury. Once you reach the area where there are falling blocks, make yourself to the end of that area and you'll see a staircase that leads to a coffin, with an air tunnel to the right of it. Let the air tunnel suck you in and you'll be taken to the third treasure room. In this treasure room you'll find a large piece of meat, heart pieces, and a variety of different sub-weapons. Just remember that in order to exit this treasure room you need to let the air tunnel suck you back in. Once you have found the last treasure room, it's time to make your way through the tough final 2 levels, all depending on who you ask, of Super Castlevania IV to the staircase to Dracula's chamber. Before we traverse the final staircase to Dracula, it's time to exploit the final secret this game has to offer. This game gives you an excellent opportunity to make sure we are fully prepared for the fight with Dracula. Once you reach the bottom of the staircase, make a leap of faith to the middle of the screen and you'll find yourself on an invisible platform. Walk down a set of stairs to the bottom left and you'll have a ton of power-ups drop down from the sky, such as large hearts, whip power-ups, a boomerang, a double shot power-up, and a triple shot power-up. With these power-ups in hand, it should make your fight against Dracula a little easier. As I'm fighting Dracula, there are just a couple of more things that I wanted to touch on. The only reward for beating the game the first time is you now have the opportunity to play the game on hard mode. It isn't really necessary to beat the game the first time around in order to have the opportunity to play the game on hard mode. You can automatically put the game on hard mode by entering a password by selecting continue on the opening screen. The password can be easily found on several gaming sites. The key thing to keep in mind is that the password will only work as long as you have not entered a name or you left it completely blank. Also, obtaining all 3 treasure rooms and even the final secret before the fight with Dracula does not change the ending whatsoever. So there is really no perk to finding them except the items can make the game a little easier to get through. Unfortunately, I have not beaten the game on hard mode because one of my fundamental rules is that I will not play a game on a higher difficulty unless it unlocks something or provides a different ending of some sorts. If there are those that would like to attempt to play the game on hard mode, you are more than welcome to. Now, with Dracula finally defeated, we have successfully completed Super Castlevania 4. So there we have it, guys. We have now successfully completed Super Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo. Now, all depending on who you ask, guys, there are some people that actually consider this Castlevania game to be incredibly easy, while there are other people that actually consider this Castlevania game to be really hard. I'll be completely honest, guys, I've had my share of frustrating moments when it came to completing this game, especially the last 2 levels. But don't let the possibility of how difficult this game may be deter you from playing it. It's actually a really enjoyable game, and it actually represents the Super Nintendo platforming genre incredibly well. So, when it comes to actually completing it, guys, like I said, even if you do find the treasure rooms or not, it doesn't really change the ending of the game whatsoever. It's just basically a personal mission of mine to find all the hidden secrets that, any game may offer, regardless of what system it's actually released for. But I highly recommend taking advantage of that final secret area before you fight Dracula, because all the power-ups that you do get in that final section will definitely help you in that final boss fight. Now, guys, if you do enjoy Super Castlevania 4, other Castlevania titles I can definitely recommend is my favorite Castlevania game of all time, which is Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. The reason why I love this game so much is because I found, for the most part, a lot of the DS Castlevania games were incredibly easy, and I've always known the Castlevania series to be a really hard video game series, and this is the game that actually brings difficulty back to the Castlevania series. So I highly recommend you definitely give this game a try. And the last Castlevania game I'll recommend is a Castlevania game that is usually a lot of people's favorite game of all time. It's a game that helped reinvent the Castlevania series to what it is known today, and a lot of people love this game for a lot of variety of reasons, and that game is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So if you do like Super Castlevania 4, I highly recommend you check those 2 titles out. So anyway, guys, that takes care of another episode of The Completionist. So as always, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best. Later.